Well, hello and welcome to this month's webinar. I'm Doug Brown, and we're really excited to be here with you today because we're going to share tips on how you can use LinkedIn to grow your influence and income without being salesy. And there's an unprecedented opportunity now because the world of networking and the insufferable cocktail party were forever changed with COVID. And it's no longer effective to just count on being in person. You've got to be online. But how do you spend your time on LinkedIn wisely, not waste it, and then not feel disingenuous or even maybe slimy about trying to connect with people on LinkedIn? Because I know that that's kind of how I feel when people start messaging me and just asking me for stuff. And so we wanted to show you how not to do that. And I'm thrilled to have Walt here with me today. Hey, Walt, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here and thrilled to have the opportunity to share this with you. Over the last decade, we have been fans of LinkedIn here at Summit Success. And I can tell you, and this is not hyperbole, that we have enjoyed over that decade close to $2 million in income from LinkedIn without doing advertising, simply from using LinkedIn as the powerful networking environment that it is. And one of the outcomes that I have for this webinar is not only to share tools and tips and best practices for LinkedIn, but to shift your mindset, if it isn't already shifted, from oh, this is just another piece of social media and I hate social media, to seeing this, as Doug suggests, an opportunity for relationship building. And to do it in a way that doesn't feel salesy or pushy or overbearing or slimy, but feels completely in integrity and congruent for you. So we're really looking forward to having the opportunity to share this idea with you. LinkedIn is this global networking platform, a global chamber of commerce event that's going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year that you can attend in your jammies. Doug, I mean to speak with you about that after the webinar today. We should not wear our jammies for webinars, but we're looking forward to having this time with you today. And Doug, let's kind of do an overview and rundown on LinkedIn.
Yeah, let's do that because it's really evolved over time. So LinkedIn isn't like other social media platforms. It has its own set of rules. And the purpose is for professionals to connect to succeed. Now, years ago, it used to be just for job seekers, and now it is so much more. In fact, Walt, I remember that if there was a time that if you were on LinkedIn, people would be like, well, you're looking for a job. And that's not what it is right now. Absolutely. So there's lots of reasons people are using LinkedIn. They want to grow their professional network with a purpose. They want to build their online presence, stand out from the competition. It's a search engine. It's an amazing place to research people, companies, and opportunities, and to find other qualified professionals or to be found yourself. So, I did doing some research on this. 80% of professionals are going to look for you on LinkedIn before they connect with you IRL or in real life. So this is a B2B platform to reach other professionals, to reach key decision makers. And if you do it right, social selling is almost part of the ethos of the platform. And it is the most effective platform to deliver content and secure engagement of your audience.
Yeah, I love that. Just to tease out a distinction, I took myself off camera. Yes, you did too.
Yeah, I did
to protect our bandwidth here. So teasing out a couple of distinctions there that I think are really important, Doug. Number one is that LinkedIn is often the place that people will go and check you out first. What's fascinating is that a lot of people, and not inappropriately so, they spend a lot of time thinking about their websites. And it's important to have a good website. It's important to have a responsive website. It's important to have an optimized website. But people will often check you out first on your on your LinkedIn profile. So nailing that down so that you can begin that relationship building process is really important. And number two, you mentioned B2B. In our world, we do a lot of B2B work, but we also do a lot of B2C work. And it's incredibly effective in B2C as well. It's a wonderful platform to begin that relationship building process.
Yes, and there's a problem.
There is a problem. And the problem is that as good as this platform is, as much potential as this platform has, it tends to be way too often abused and used inappropriately. And we've all had this experience. You reach out and you connect with somebody, or somebody reaches out and connects with you, and the connection is accepted, you accept it, or that other person accepts it. And immediately, like within minutes or hours, you are pitched on something. And that just feels horrible. You wouldn't do that IRL in real life. You would not do that in real relationships, because that just violates the rules of relationship. And one of the things I'm going to say over and over again in this webinar today is that all business is based upon relationships. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Relationship is the cornerstone of business. And please note this well. The rules of relationship are not suspended in the virtual world. In fact, the more conscious and mindful and intentional we can be around relationship building in the virtual world, the more powerful and effective we will be, and the greater the ROI will be for the time we spend on this platform. And so really, there is an extraordinary opportunity for us at this moment in time. Not only, as Doug suggested earlier, to leverage post-pandemic the power of this virtual world, but it allows us to use our networking and our marketing and our business time effectively. It allows us to hyper-focus and hyper-target those particular people who are our client avatars or who are our ideal referral sources. We can connect with those people who see our people before they see us. Doug and I do a lot of marketing strategy, business development training, and one of the cornerstones of that is connecting with potential referral sources. And those people are here on LinkedIn. And it's a vibrant network, a network filled with great energy, and it's worldwide. And right now we can increase our impact, our influence, and our income by leveraging the power of this increasingly remote world that is at our doorstep here on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and so here's what we're going to do in our time together today. We're going to cover how to make sure your profile is putting your best foot forward. We're going to show you how to use it to connect and get in front of the room to share your expertise. And we're going to wrap up by answering any questions that you've had. And we're going to give you an opportunity for us to do a little review of your profile if you want that. So let's go right ahead into profile. And if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll keep track as we go along. Your profile is your online brand. It is, as Walt said earlier, probably more important than your website, and it receives not nearly enough attention. 80% of people are going to check you out there first, and LinkedIn, the algorithm, rewards people with a complete profile by showing you to more people and getting you more connections. So you've got to have a complete profile. So Walt, let's walk through how our people need to do that.
All right. So a great paradox of your LinkedIn profile, and this is also true, friends, of your About Me page on your website, same. Your LinkedIn profile, which most people think is about you, isn't about you. In fact, this may be bad news for many of you, no one really cares about you. We care about you, but most people really care about what's in it for them. They don't, in the first instance, care about how long you've been in business or how many accolades you have or how many endorsements you have or how many certifications you have or how many letters after your name they have. Their first question is, what's in it for me, and can you help me solve my problem? And so this is the overarching meta principle of your about section of your LinkedIn profile. But let me start with where you enter this yourself analytically about creating your LinkedIn profile. First and foremost, why do you want to be on this platform? Well, as we've already suggested, you want to be on this platform so that you can connect with your ideal client avatar and your strategic relationships related to that ideal client avatar. And in particular, not only the ideal client avatar, but the people who see and might refer your ideal client avatar to you before you see them. You need also to be super clear about what you want them to do, how you want them to follow up. We joke from time to time about, when you have a video on your landing page of your website and you say, we want to give you that free resource, you actually have to tell them and actually type with your fingers, type in your email address and your name and then click, pointing the finger, the blue button. We actually have to be really clear with our potential clients, with our avatar, to tell them what we want them to do next. Because without that plan, they're going to have a hard time figuring out what you want them to do. Next, do you know what problem your client avatar is endeavoring to solve in her or his or their own words? Do you know what problem they want solved? Not the problem that you want to solve or that you feel you need to solve, but what is the problem that your potential client wants solved? And then from there, who in particular is that client avatar? So if you simply show up on LinkedIn and say, yes, I'm a sales professional and I like to do sales, well, that kind of violates all of the rules that we've just been talking about. If you, on the other hand, say, I'm a sales professional who helps senior leaders become better sales professionals so that they can make more money for their company, now we're getting closer to problem solution. So one of the things that we like to do, go deep on in some of our marketing programs, we're going to just mention it here, is we go deep on this algorithm of I help X do Y. I, as founder and CEO of Summit Success, help busy entrepreneurs and business professionals grow and scale businesses that will give them time freedom and financial freedom. Problem solution. So what is the problem you solve and for whom do you solve it? And then what do you want them to do as a result of that? So I need to go to the next slide, don't I?
Yes, we do. Because one of the things we've talked about, Walt, right, is you have to measure what you're doing or you don't know if it's working, right?
Yes, and I love you. You and I have giggled recently about a client that we have worked with in our consultant success formula who was having a challenge on LinkedIn, and we helped him get super clear. I'm talking about Gray, super clear about who his client avatar was and what problem he solved, and within 24, maybe it was 30 hours. It wasn't long. But within 24 to 36 hours, Gray saw a 180% increase in his traffic. And LinkedIn does give you those metrics to keep track of stuff.
So you decide what it is you want to measure. You want to look at, on LinkedIn, you look at your numbers of connections, your shares, your comments, how many sales conversations and conversions come out of that, maybe your new clients or income, but set some specific goals for yourself. And we're not going to get super technical today, but there is something cool on LinkedIn called your social selling index. And if you go and you're logged into your LinkedIn profile and go to that link, which I'll drop in the chat in a moment, you can see how LinkedIn is evaluating the completeness of your profile and opportunities to improve it. Because LinkedIn wants you to be better at these things. So there's plenty of resources there to help you with that. So profile elements.
I know this guy.
You know this guy. And there's some essential elements here. And a name is much more than a name. Yes. Because it's also an SEO search term.
All right. And so let's dive in. Let's dive into the elements of an effective LinkedIn profile.
Yes, let's do it. Go ahead.
So number one is, remember, please, friends, that your LinkedIn profile, like your website, like any other marketing collateral, is not done and done forever. It is always, as we say in the law, work in process. It is always a WIP project. You're always visiting and revisiting this and tweaking it in light of the metrics that Doug referenced. So your profile elements, of course, begin with your name, but that bold field where your name is not just limited to your name. As Doug suggested, LinkedIn is a powerful search engine. And so we want in our profile to optimize the searches that you get. So executive coach is a highly searchable term on LinkedIn. Executive coach is the core of the deep one-on-one work I do. And so there is a lot of character space, real estate, character space, where your name goes. So simply putting your name and your name only doesn't optimize the character space. So you can experiment with how much character space you can use, but I highly recommend that you use something after your name that is searchable for your client avatar.
And based on what they might search for.
Based upon what they might search for, not what you might search for. So underneath your name, there's more real estate. And the real estate there is often used to put your business name. Well, nobody really in the first instance cares about your business name, really. You care about your business name. You care about all of that. But as I said before, what your ideal client avatar really cares about is, can you help me solve my problem? So this second line, rather than being a placeholder for your business name or your title, like attorney at law or wealth manager or accountant, you can use this real estate, there's a fair amount of it, to have some type of articulation of who you help and what problem you solve. So those two lines, super important, because every time you post, every time you comment, every time you reach out, those two lines are going to show up. And they are lines that are super powerful across the platform.
And Walt, one thing on that is that every time you comment, your name and in your case, the executive coach shows up, and the very beginning, the first 3 or 4 or 5 words of your headline, the I help you grow and scale, also shows up. So you want to make sure you're using that real estate well, so that every time your name pops up, they're getting the essential portion of the essential message.
Yes, absolutely. Now, your picture really matters. Remember, the meta principle I shared with you at the beginning was it's about relationship. And when you see a photograph of someone, you begin to connect with that person as a human being. One of the reasons we like video so much on websites is video is an even more powerful way of connecting with somebody as a human being. The profile on LinkedIn gives you the ability to have a static photo. That photo ought to reflect who you are and how you are in the world. I was working with a lawyer a number of years ago, and he wanted to move from a small practice to being a DC lobbyist. And he couldn't figure out why he wasn't getting traction. And there, lo and behold, was an outtake of this lawyer at a wedding reception holding a red cup. Now, I raised teenagers. I know what's in red cups. I don't object to things in red cups. But perhaps if you're looking to position yourself as a highly paid lobbyist, you don't want to have an outtake from a wedding event with a red cup in your hands. So I'm just suggesting that be mindful of what the brand is that you're projecting in the world and have a professional looking, doesn't need to be a professional taken, but professional looking photograph that is brand consistent. And then the thing behind your photo is your banner. You get to customize this. You don't have to have the boring blue thing that LinkedIn gives you. You can actually put something there. We have our company logo there. You could have something that you design. It could be your company logo. It could be your firm logo. It could be some other type of photo. Canva, Canva.com. You can get a free application and you can get templates that are sized for your LinkedIn banner to create something here. Again, you want it to be reflective of who you are and how you are in the world. And then, of course, we drop down into the About section. And as I said, the About section is not about you. I want to meet my prospect where she or he or they are in the world, not where I'd like them to be, but where they are in the world so that I can connect with what's going on with them. And then from that perspective, offer to help. And then at the very bottom of the LinkedIn, we don't have enough room that was visible here. I do want to encourage you to search engine optimize your profile, because this LinkedIn profile not only will show up oftentimes before your website, but it will often show up way above your website in Google searches when well optimized. And so at the end of your About section, having some section, lawyers have to be careful because we can't say specialty or expertise unless we're certified. But generally, if you put areas of focus or areas of interest and then run a set of keywords, my keywords would include executive coach, executive coaching, attorney coaching, business coach, business coaching. You get the idea. Anything that someone might type in to search for me, that would be optimized by running that set of keywords at the end. So these are the high-level elements of a powerful LinkedIn profile. And the more time and attention you spend to it at the beginning, the more effective you will be in the strategies that we share with you in a few minutes.
Yes, and the great thing about LinkedIn is there's plenty of opportunity to experiment and see what works, because there's different kinds of profiles. The one that mine looks the same, but a little bit different. My About section is structured a little bit differently with some keywords in there. And then another way to focus your About section is, how can I help you? There's some keywords here of what the clients would look for, what they look for in an executive coach. Maybe a testimonial of what clients might say about you. And then a little bit about you and your story and some keywords. So you also want to make sure you are filling out the complete profile. So that means your experiences, your job, and your other experiences are filled out completely. Think about the keywords that somebody would care about, not necessarily what you put on your resume, but why does that experience matter? Having your education complete, looking for endorsements, and then seeking recommendations. When you've completed your profile, we're going to talk in a few minutes about how to get your expertise out in the world, the more complete your profile is, the more people will see it. Okay. So I did some research on this, Walt. There are 5 billion annual searches on
That's a lot.
on LinkedIn. One of the things you're going to want to do is make sure you have your custom URL. LinkedIn will assign you one with lots of letters and numbers, but you can pick one, a unique one. Mine happens to be /Douglas Brown.
Did you make that up yourself?
I did, all by myself.
That's awesome.
And so then what happens is, if somebody's trying to connect with you, that's a typing friendly URL that you can share your profile. You can put it at the bottom of your email signature and invite people to connect with you in that way. So let's talk about, Walt, how to actually, now that you've got a complete profile, how do you actually use it that you're going to roll into the virtual cocktail party?
Love that. So let's anchor this, friends, in something that we already know, perhaps not like, but know, the traditional networking event, the insufferable networking event, where you have your bad Chardonnay and dried out hors d'oeuvres and you're standing balancing it all in a room. Well, the beautiful thing is you don't have to go to a room anymore. You can use LinkedIn. But I want to anchor LinkedIn in the context of the networking experiences that you know, the good networking experiences you know, so that we can use LinkedIn as a networking experience that actually works and leads to not only the connections, but the referrals and the clients and the money that comes with that. So in a typical networking event, let's imagine you're walking into a chamber of commerce. It's an after hours event, or it's a morning coffee event, or it's a lunch and learn event. And you walk into the room, maybe you're 5 or 10 minutes late, and the room is filled with people. And in that room, there's a place for your coffee and your bad hors d'oeuvres, and you might get a plate and a cup of coffee or a cocktail, and you see a variety of groups going on. And so you could walk over to a group and spend some time in that group. When you walk into the LinkedIn room, so this is you're changing your mindset. You're getting out of the mindset of, oh, I got to go in social media. You're actually opening up LinkedIn and imagining this is a virtual networking event. And you walk into the room and there are conversations going on. There are threads of conversations going on. Someone has opened the conversation by sharing something, and other people have weighed in. Other people have nodded their heads and liked it or loved it or given some applause to it. Some people have added thoughts, simple thoughts or affirmations. Other people have shared more substance around that. So just like you can imagine walking into a group in a networking situation, you can imagine joining a conversation in LinkedIn. Now, the difference is that this is a little bit asynchronous. Well, it is asynchronous, which means that it's not all happening at once, which means, and Doug and I will stress this before we finish today, is it's important to be consistent in your use of this networking event, because you don't want to go in and then 6 months later go in again, because you want to stay in the conversation that's happening, even if it's asynchronously. And so practice number one is going in to LinkedIn and spending some time in these conversations that are going on. Now, like networking events, in real life, the worst way to do it is like a speed dating event where you're going around and handing out business cards and nodding and liking and slapping people's backs and leaving. It's actually engaging in these conversations in a deeper way. So creating and listening and nodding your head and commenting and engaging in this conversation just like you would in a chamber event. So that's number one. Number two, let's pretend then you've been in this conversation and you see someone in this thread that you don't know, which is often the case in a global event because there are a lot of people out in the world. You see somebody you don't know, but who has shared something that's really interesting. Or somebody from across, quote, across the room has reached out to you to connect. And you go and you look at their profile and you go, oh, that's an interesting person. So just like at a live networking event, you can connect with new people and you can get to know those new people. You can message with those new people. You can invite those new people to connect with you for a coffee follow-up, a virtual coffee or a Zoom follow-up, just like you would in real life. You can meet new people, and that's how you begin to extend your network. That's how you begin to deepen relationships with new people. And then just like at that chamber lunch and learn, there are people who go to the front of the room and they present just in the same way. You could present on LinkedIn. You can get to the front of the room super easily. You can do it on video. You can share short form posts. You can write long form articles. And so these three areas that you already know from real life networking can and should be brought over into the LinkedIn world so that you're using this in the way that's most powerful and effective and will have the biggest ROI. Doug.
Yes, that's a great way to set it up, and it's the right way to think about it. And when you think about the discrete tasks that you can do when you're inside of LinkedIn, of course, you want to build your network and you want to do what Walt said is go for authentic connections, because you want to them to know you, like you, and trust you. It's like somebody rolling up to you and thrusting a business card in your face at a networking event. You're not going to follow up. So building your network is about a long game. It's not about transactions. And you should be intentional about doing things to build your network. You might do that by going and looking at what other people have posted, influencers in your industry. You might research it as your clients might research it. It's there's a little bit of a fear sometimes of, well, I don't want to be commenting on my quote competitors' stuff. But if your competitor's out there and has got a community, you can participate in it and add value to it. You may find someone that you want to do a direct outreach to, and you might want to message them. Well, you don't just message them in the cold. You want to find something interesting about them and be that in service to them and offer them something of value. I got a direct message request today from someone, and they made a comment about a recommendation that I had received, which they could only have seen if they actually read the profile versus just trying to get as many connections as possible. When you go to add a connection, you can have a note or not. There's just a survey on LinkedIn users, and there was about a 60 to 40% preference for a note if it was authentic. And people said they would connect without a note if it was obvious that had a lot of connections in common, or there was some other synergy there. So when you're in this virtual room trying to do your outreach, and you're messaging and adding connections, it's the same mental model that you would use if you're in the cocktail party. And the one thing I wanted to mention here was, I guess we could talk about hashtags here. Maybe that's a little advanced, but hashtags are a way that you can get found and have your post stand out. I don't know if we want to go too. We have time to go too deep into hashtags and tagging others today.
Let me roll that into the next slide about core strategies, Doug. I think having some ideas as to things that you can proactively do would be useful as well for our listeners today. And so, in addition to seeing this as that networking event and engaging in those three familiar activities of engaging in conversations that are already happening, looking for opportunities to meet new people, and looking for ways to get in front of the room, let's deepen that last piece, because that last piece of getting in front of the room is about adding value to your potential clients, adding value to the community, adding value in the world. And so you can post things of value. You may have had an experience, a business experience, or a business lesson, or you may have had an experience, a story about something that happened to you that provides some type of moral in the business world. Doug and I talk about creating delight for the people that we serve. And I had a recent experience of delight in the customer service world. I'm about to share that through a LinkedIn post. So you can create simply a post. You may have something, however, that's longer. Maybe you have a piece that you've been thinking about, a piece that you've been researching, and you want to share at a deeper level, not just a 200-word post, but maybe you've got a 500 or 700-word article that you want to share. Or LinkedIn now allows you to publish newsletters out there. So you can share valuable content, valuable written content that will be in service to the people that you want to serve. You can also share stuff that you've stumbled upon. I read the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal every day, and I often come across stuff that really, I think, would be of service to the people I want to, whose lives I want to touch. Or I listen to a handful of podcasts on a regular basis. I might share an interesting podcast that I might think would be valuable. So sharing written content of value. You can also share video on LinkedIn. You can do, like on Facebook, LinkedIn Lives, or you can share recorded videos. And as I alluded to earlier, video is a wonderful way to create a connection with your prospective client avatar. So video is a wonderful and powerful way to connect with those people. There are like a bazillion groups on LinkedIn. There are your alumni groups and your professional groups. And, I happen to be an athlete, so I belong to an executive athletes group on LinkedIn. And so there's all sorts of groups and lists that you can, just like in real life, there are committees and subcommittees you can get involved in LinkedIn. So those are core ways of deepening that third component that I shared with you of getting out and getting in front of the room and being seen as a go-to authority in the field in which you work. So I want, Doug, I know you have some tips that you want to share, but I'd like to talk about some regular routines for our listeners today that they can actually take and use and keep it manageable so that there is that thing called consistency.
Yes.
So before you get to your tips, let me just go into
all right, why don't you hit the routines?
Okay. So important thing here is, first and foremost, this goes back to some of our time management programs, Doug, is to actually carve out some time for your marketing and your networking. There ought to be a block on your calendar for when you do your daily networking in LinkedIn. I would suggest that you keep it really manageable so that you don't go down a rabbit hole. Keep it to 20 or 30 minutes a day. Have it as a scheduled time. And you want to go in there. And of course, if there are messages, you'll see the toolbar across the top. You want to go and you want to check your messages and respond to your messages because those are direct contacts. You also want to go in and see who may have wanted to reach out and connect with you with new connections. And you go in and you look at those and you respond to those. I would suggest that you not just click accept, but you go over to their profile, you look at their profile, you confirm the connection, and I would even go as far as to write a message to them saying, thanks so much for connecting. I really appreciate it. And then once you've done those first level things, go into the room, go down and check to see who's having conversations, spend some time, like, comment, give feedback, give affirmation. Look at who may have tagged you. Oftentimes people will tag you. Go into those conversations and respond and engage. And as you're doing all of this, be aware of new faces out there and look to connect and then affirmatively reach out to other influencers, connecting with groups, connecting with professional resources. And you can do this in a focused way in 20 or 30 minutes. The important thing is, as I suggested before, not to drop in and then not drop in again for 6 months, but to have a consistent practice and to come, Bob Burg, one of the great business books on the planet is The Go-Giver. You'll get everything you want in life. It's the old Zig Ziglar quote. You'll get everything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want. Add value, be in service.
100%. So some tips to help you become even more effective. Keep track of what you're doing and who you're talking to. We use Asana. It's a task management program. It could be on a 3x5 index card, but it'd be easy to forget, hey, 3 weeks ago, I was having this conversation with this person. What was their name again? So keep track of that. I like about Asana is you can even put a link to the actual post in the notes so you can go back to it quickly. Second, while you're updating your profile, the default setting is LinkedIn will automatically update your network when you change something in your profile. You may not want that to happen. So turn off those notifications while you're making minor updates and tweaks. There's another thing to turn off. So when people search for you, you can turn off that they also view. So if you are an attorney or a family law attorney and they search and they find you, turning that off will keep your people from being directed to other people just like you. Learn about brief video cover stories. You can change these often. It can be part of the profile. It's a 30-second clip. Have a clear call to action and just makes it a little more personal. One of the things that LinkedIn does not like is these things called pods, where everybody has these side agreements to comment on everybody else's post. It's kind of like showing up to the networking event with all of your own people to say how great you are. And watch out for automation because nobody likes having bots hit them. When you're going into a new group, pay attention to what other people have posted and what they're talking about. And that'll give you the norms of the group. And remember that these are all about professional connections and professional conversations. It's more like what you would talk about at a business event than the local neighborhood barbecue. So there's other, if that's something interesting, there are other communities for that. LinkedIn is not one of them. And I think that's what makes it very effective, especially if you are in LinkedIn groups. You're going to be getting valuable content there. And don't be afraid to use LinkedIn as your own research tool to find other people.
Love that. So let's get to the next slide, because I want to be mindful of our listeners' time.
Yep.
Those of you who are with us today, ideas are great, but if ideas were all that were necessary for our success, we wouldn't be on a LinkedIn webinar today. We'd be rich and thin and living on a beach already. And so it's really the action that takes the ideas and turns them into something that has an ROI. All of business, we believe, is iterative and creative. It ought to be fun. It ought to be interesting. It ought to be a bit playful. And without feeling like you have to do anything, what we'd like to invite you to do is, what one idea that we have shared with you today might you play with, experiment with? You don't have to share it in the chat if you don't want to, but just take a moment. Don't do this if you're driving, but just take a moment and write down one thing that you might try. So it might be, I'm going to share my blog every week as an article on LinkedIn. Or it could be, I'm going to share a short video every week on LinkedIn. Or it could be, I'm going to make a commitment to 3 times a week, 20 minutes for 3 times a week, to go in and see this as a networking event. Or it could be, I'm going to reach out and connect with one new person every day in a meaningful way, not just that I'm going to connect thing. So our invitation to you is to write down and to connect, or write down and commit to one thing on this LinkedIn world that you'll play with, experiment with in the next week. So we do have the opportunity, Doug, for Q&A, and if you have questions, please type them in. But we get some questions quite frequently that I want to field in lieu of questions or in addition to questions that might come in. One is, should I accept people who reach out to me to connect? And my response to that is, why not? So as I said to you at the beginning, and I'm going to say again shortly, business is based upon relationships. When I was coming up through the ranks, and this is a reflection on age and wisdom, on my senior partners' desks were these things called Rolodexes. And Rolodexes, the Rolodex, that card file of phone numbers and contacts, the bigger the Rolodex, the more that person had influence and impact in the world. And so my view of the world is, if this person looks to be a genuine person, that is, you've gone over to their LinkedIn profile and you've taken a look at that person's profile, and they sound to be a business person who is doing business legitimately on LinkedIn, then accept it. Accept it as a potential relationship in the world. Bonnie, I love your question. What if you don't know the person? Well, in a global marketplace, the chances are you're not going to know most of these people. And that's the beautiful thing. You're going to get to expand your network and meet amazing new people from all around the world. And if you find that they are people who are simply trying to sell you stuff or dun you, you can disconnect from them. So I tend to err on the side of seeing it as an abundant world filled with opportunity. And I want to have a lot of impact and influence in the world, which means I want a lot of relationships. So the answer to the question, should I accept, for me, is yes. Go ahead.
I want to just add in that you have the opportunity to check out their profile, see who else they connected with, and see what they are posting. If they are putting stuff out in the world that is valuable, then it may be well worth connecting. If they are spamming everybody in their feed and you don't have any common connections and they're not adding things of value, you probably wouldn't make an extra effort to know that person at the cocktail party anyway. So the rules of in real life can apply here. And Bonnie, I see your other question about, I'm not sure I understand how to hack into for illegitimate people. Have you seen that as an issue, Walt?
So we've actually had some significant, we had, as you know, Doug, a significant cyber incursion last year through our Facebook business manager portal, significant enough where the FBI got involved. So I'm quite familiar with cybersecurity and cybersecurity issues. Bonnie, I'm going to touch upon LinkedIn advertising in a moment, but in terms of getting into your profile, in terms of hacking your profile information and above and beyond what's already public, I have never ever seen that to be a risk of any significance. So I would put your mind at ease there. Of course, you want to be careful about people who impersonate. Yes, I see that comment. That happens not infrequently on Instagram. That can happen not infrequently on Facebook. It happens a lot less on LinkedIn. We always want to be vigilant about this. We always want to go through extra layers of password protection and two-factor authentication for getting in. That's really the most important thing, Bonnie, is being sure that your credentials are constantly kept up to date and you're maintaining the integrity on the back end. So I did mention advertising. Of course, advertising is something that is of interest to people promoting their business. I love LinkedIn. You can tell I'm a big fan of it. I have not found LinkedIn advertising to be as effective as Facebook and Instagram advertising, even to people who are on LinkedIn. The Facebook and Instagram advertising will allow you to hyper focus on your avatar. The LinkedIn advertising tends to be more diffuse and less and more costly. And then the third question we get, and Doug, you alluded to it already, the third question we get a lot is, should I use some type of automation in LinkedIn in connecting with people? We have done as a company a lot of research around LinkedIn automation. For me, the question is a little silly based upon the syntax that we've shared with you already. It's like, should I automate my dating life? Should I automate my marriage life or my partnership life? LinkedIn is about connecting and nurturing and growing relationships. And I don't think, I have never seen an automation platform that does that effectively on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn doesn't like it, as you said, Doug. So anyway, I'm watching the time, Doug. I know that you wanted to make an invitation to our.
I wanted to make an invitation and just add one other thing that oftentimes LinkedIn will encourage you to pay a significant fee to upgrade your membership. And I think at this point, for most people, that's not necessary. Use the basic fundamentals. So we do webinars like this all the time. Many of you have heard us do other webinars, and we see people who come in and they think, wow, this is great stuff. I might even have committed to do something, and they're still not making any progress. And we want to help with that. So the special offer for attending today's program, because I know how hard it is to look at your own profile and be critical of it, or maybe be too critical of it and give up, is to help you accelerate your progress. And that's a one-on-one conversation about how you can use LinkedIn to grow and influence your income. And that includes a profile review. So that's what we have a limited number of spaces to do that. Walt, you're going to put something up in the webinar now.
I beat you to it. It's already popped up over there on the right-hand side. There's a blue box that looks like the thing you have on the screen. A little blue box that says book your strategy call. Underneath it, there's a green button just like that. And you click the little green button and it will take you to a web form where you'll share a little bit of information. And someone from our team will reach out and schedule that up. As Doug said, and as I've said before, the idea is not just to take these ideas and listen to them, but put them in action. And sometimes having someone to stand by your side virtually and give you a little bit of a jump start on that is useful. And we do have a limited number, I think this month, a very limited number of spaces. But if it is in service to you, we would invite you to click the button for that. Doug, you've got some thoughts as well about this?
Yeah, well, one of the things I really enjoy doing with folks, and that is taking a look at the profile and with the stuff we talked about at the very beginning, talking through the questions of who you're trying to reach, what problems are you trying to solve, and how effectively is the language that you're putting out there in your profile and in your posts meeting that need. Because it's so easy to look inwardly all the time at what we're doing and not have that fresh perspective. So those who sign up are going to walk away with some real valuable knowledge of what they can do, something new to try, and to see how else we might be able to help them. There's no charge, no obligation. We just want to be in service to the members of our community.
I loved looking at profiles. There's usually so much, even when I go back to my profile, there's always stuff that we can tweak and focus and make a more effective. And the idea, as we shared at the beginning, was that LinkedIn is such an important place in terms of where people come to check you out, that nailing this down, doing the work, getting this hyper-focused allows you to shine out in the world in a way that allows you to share your unique gifts and talents and really maximize your impact and your influence in the world and reap the just rewards of that. So, Douglas, I think we're at the top of the hour. I just want to thank all of you for spending this time with us. And I want to reiterate the fundamental principle that all business, B2B business, B2C business, all business depends upon relationships. If you're dealing with a big bank, you still have a relationship with a banker. If you're dealing with a wealth management company, you still have a relationship with that wealth manager. Even if it's a passing interchange with an airline ticket counter person, it's about relationship. And you know that the better the connection with the person on the other side of the phone, the person on the other side of the aisle, the smoother that interaction is, the better you feel about the interaction. And when relationships deepen over time, they turn into business, which turns into revenue. Everything depends upon relationship. And LinkedIn is not just another social media platform. It is an environment, a global networking event going on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, where you can go and create, nurture, and sustain relationship. And remember that in the virtual world, the rules of relationship are not suspended. You get to deepen and enrich the lives of people all around the globe. You get to have a global reach. You get to have relationships all around the world. And those relationships will turn into business generation, and they will turn into revenue, and they will give you the reach and the reward that you want and deserve. And so our invitation is to take what we've shared with you today and go out and use it. And if it would be in service to you, please, please, please allow us to support you with a strategy call by going over on the right-hand side and clicking the button and setting that up so that we can serve and support and get you going out there in the world. We are so grateful for each and every one of you, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month on our webinar.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.